In the aftermath of the shooting out in California last week, President Obama again is talking about how we need stricter gun control laws. And what he's doing is sidestepping the major issue in most of these shootings. We had over 350 mass shootings here in America over the last year. And the reason why we've had over 300 shootings in America has nothing to do with gun control laws or the proliferation of guns. What it has to do with is the self control of people in America. Here in America, what I'm finding these days is whenever somebody has a difference of opinion or they disagree with something, the first thing they do to solve the problem is go get themselves a gun to kill the person that they have a disagreement with or kill innocent people because they can't get their way in life. And this has to do, especially with a lot of these males, with the way they're being raised, because the way their mothers raise them is to pretty much coddle them and cater to their needs and to give them whatever they want instead of letting them build the discipline and character to understand that in this world out here, you're going to run into people who you're going to have a disagreement with. You're going to run into people that you don't like. And you're going to have to learn how to navigate through your emotions. And the sad part is most men these days, because mostly male shooters, do not know how to navigate through their emotions. They don't understand that, yes, while you may feel something because this person disagrees with you or you may not like them, you have to learn not to act in a certain way. But unfortunately, because the way we raise males is dysfunctional, many of these men think their only recourse is to go get a pistol or a automatic weapon and then have an adult meltdown because they are not being raised to learn discipline or to learn how to deal with their feelings and emotions in a constructive way. This is why people participate in mass shootings for the primary reason. They have no discipline, they have no self-control, and they do not know how to control their emotions. They have no critical thinking skills, they have no reasoning skills, and they do not know how to solve problems without going out to go get their 9 millimeters of courage to go try to solve a problem which could easily be solved by them going to either go talk to someone or to just learn how to walk away from the situation. When I look at the mass shooting out in California, I saw another one of these dysfunctional males. And I look at the way he was behaving. They said he was a good boy and all this stuff in the beginning. But I saw a lot of, patterns that fit the nice guy simp paradigm. I mean, when they said he went out to do online dating, it was a red flag for me. And when they said he was this devoutly religious person, again, another red flag for me because I've seen, these types of behaviors in your nice guys. And I saw it also with your Elliot Rodger a while back, and I also saw it with your Adam Lanza and many of these other mass shooters, and their pattern it fit right into that pattern of behavior, with those killers, your Elliot Rodgers, your Adam Lanzas, your Chris Harper Mercers, all of them all fit a pattern and a profile, and whether there be a father in the home or a father not in the home, again, we see this pattern of you know, nice guys and violence. And with this nice guy pattern, these nice guys, what they do is they hold all of their emotions inside. They suppress their feelings. And then while they're holding it in, they're boiling and simmering in rage. And while they're boiling and simmering in that rage, what they do is they're sitting there plotting acts of horrifying and terrifying violence, and they're showing their malice of forethought because really a lot of these nice guys, again, they're not very nice on the inside, and because they are raised thinking that everybody has to cater to them, everybody has to try to meet their needs, and they never are express about meeting their needs. What they do is they wind up boiling and simmering in rage, and then eventually they explode. Now, this guy has, ties to your ISIL and your Islamic extremists, but I still saw the nice guy pattern within him. And when I start seeing the red flags for the nice guy, they went off for me, and I saw I saw the pattern, clearly. And that's why we're having a lot of these mass shootings here in America, and that has nothing to do with gun control laws. Again, that goes back to the way these males are being raised, because if this male in this shooting had an issue with life in America, then he had a chance, again, because he had the economic means, to go back to one of those Islamic countries and go live, a life over there. But he didn't want to do that. Again, it's like when you deal with a nice guy, they're never very nice and they're always filled with rage. And they hide their rage on the inside until it boils up and explodes. And I guess because he had to deal with this, because he had this woman in his life, it was the exact same thing. She was filled with rage, because nice girls are the exact same thing. They're also filled with rage. And I notice, with a lot of males here in America, we have a very, very serious anger issue because a lot of men, again, because they're raised by women and they learn manhood from women, they don't learn how to be men from a man. They don't learn manhood from a man. And because of that, they wind up not being able to understand how to deal with things. They do not understand, how to deal with male authority. They don't understand problem solving. They don't understand reasoning. And whenever they run into conflict, what they do is they wind up not directly expressing what they want or what they want to get out of things, and they wind up, instead of them saying directly what they want, they wind up simmering and boiling, and eventually, because they're simmering and boiling, they wind up exploding into these acts of violence. And I really think that the president, thinks that gun control laws are going to stop this. No, and I said that it wasn't going to stop this because, all these guys out here are byproducts of the last 50 years of the way we have been raising males. And the fruit of that is these explosions of rage. We see all these explosions of rage because these males do not know how to express themselves. They do not know how to problem solve. They do not know how to reason. And those are things that a man, for the most part, learns from his father. And because his father, in many cases, is not in the home, or if he's in the home, he's emotionally unavailable. So he is not there to teach his son the life skills and social skills that he needs to go out in the world. Yes, he can give him stuff and he gets an academic education, but his emotional education, he's not learning how to survive. Because I have family members who work in education and they see the same problem happening in children as little as 3 years old. They're dealing with abandonment issues and emotional issues, and because they have these emotional issues, they're not able to function in a healthy manner. And that's what happens when they grow up, is that they turn into your Elliot Rogers and your Adam Lanzas and this guy. They turn into these type of people because they have never been taught how to navigate through their emotions, how to deal with their issues, and they wind up, buying into all sorts of dysfunctional ideologies and dysfunctional ways of thinking, and that they use that because that allows them a place to, express their anger and the views that they think are right, and they go to those places and then they wind up, simmering and boiling even more because they have something to be angry about, something to direct their anger at, and then eventually they wind up exploding into this rage where they go out and have an adult temper tantrum where they go out and kill people. Now, until we deal with that issue, of the way we raise males, the way our family has deteriorated here in America, sadly, we're going to see a lot more mass shootings because this is the problem that, your president doesn't want to talk about because nobody wants to talk about how family has completely declined in America, how the American family structure, has completely collapsed, and how males are really suffering because there is no father in the home to teach them manhood. They are not learning how to deal with with conflict. They're not learning how to resolve issues, and they think because they're so frustrated because they don't know how to solve problems. They don't know how to talk and communicate. How they're feeling about things. They're going out and picking up automatic weapons to express all of their anger and frustration at the world in these adult temper tantrums, murdering innocent people who have absolutely nothing to do with the anger that they have inside of them. And until somebody, takes a look at the psychology of this and the decline of the American family, we're really not going to see any serious resolution of the issue. all these politicians sitting here talking about gun control. Gun control really is not the issue. We've had all these people bought their weapons legally. They bought them from gun shops. Many of these people had no criminal record whatsoever. So we can't legislate, to stop somebody from committing murder. The only way to really deal with this issue is to deal with the way we are raising men in American society. And the way we are raising men in American society, we've this concept of the soft male, which evolved in the 1970s, this kinder, gentler, more sensitive man, has produced, a Jekyll and Hyde type guy. Yes, he's nice on the outside, but eventually, over time, he turns into this monster who winds up participating in all sorts of carnage. And nobody wants to talk about, this nice guy and his impact on society, because then people think that this guy is nice, but the people who really get to know him, on the surface, yes, he is nice, but on the surface. But when you start peeling back his layers, you start seeing his passive aggressiveness, his pettiness, his lying, his manipulation, and you really start to see how angry this guy is, because behind that smile is a scowl, and this guy is filled with a lot of rage. And eventually, all it takes is somebody disagreeing with him, having a difference of opinion with him, or saying no to him, for people to see that side of him, that where he explodes and goes into this rage. Now, many women will tell you about the nice guy because they've had to deal with this type of guy in dating situations, where this guy will, explode if he cannot get any sex or any sort of affection out of them after doing all of his so-called good deeds. And some bosses may even have to deal with this guy's explosions at work. And these are things that people, they don't pay attention to, or take notice of, but these are the things that people need to look for. This, and in many cases, the mothers coddling these boys, giving them everything that they want, because that's another I'm seeing in culture, is that mothers giving these boys everything they want, and these boys never learn discipline, character, and the resolve to go through things. The minute they have one little hardship, they're talking about some sort of they're embracing some sort of radical ideology, the same way Chris Harper Mercer embraced the Nazis, or this guy embraced these radical extremists, or your Elliot Rodger, he's been up with the pickup artists. These guys, when they can't get their way, again, because they don't know how to problem solve, they go to the extreme instead of learning how to find a constructive solution on how to deal with things. And when those radical ideas, don't seem to work for them, then they want to go pick up a weapon, and this is where they go into the explosion of rage. And this is something that, again, your president, really is not addressing. When I listened to his speech, it proved to me that he just doesn't understand this issue wholeheartedly. He's talking about gun control when we have a big problem with people control, and people are not learning the life skills that they need, so that they can have the ability to solve problems and to resolve conflicts in life. And because they're not learning these valuable life skills, they're going out here and disrupting the quality of life for everyone and making things less safe for everyone, because they don't know how to solve problems. They don't know how to use logic and reason, and they don't know how to deal with things. And this is what I'm seeing. I mean, when you have 355 mass shootings, that tells me that's not a gun issue. That's telling me we have, again, an issue with the way males, and even in some cases females, are being raised in this society, and the way people are being taught how to live in society. The culture that is being taught to them is something that we need to be exploring, not talking about legislating to prevent people from buying guns. What we need to do, constructively, really, is try to find a way to create policy that helps rebuild this American family, so that there's balance in the home, so that the children get balance and structure. Because it's clear to me that the real problem in American society with all these mass shootings is that we have a complete and total collapse of this family structure and this family unit. And because these males do not know how to deal with problems in life, they're going and taking things to the extreme. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.